Hello and welcome back, and that is right, we are continuing our look at the very best NASs to buy at the start of 2022. Now, a lot of the things I've talked about up until this point have been fairly mainstay stuff. However, today I want to talk about where things get serious. I want to talk about the entry point, I think, for most small, medium business and big business users. That is, of course, your 8-bay solutions. 8-bay solutions, these are network attached storage devices that support 8 hard drives. These are solutions where you are looking for performance, you are looking for robust reliability, you're looking for great RAID configurations that give you fail-safes and safety nets while still giving you a tremendous amount of storage. These are solutions where data storage professionals will take things seriously, will start. They won't go any less than 8 for reasons of, as mentioned, performance and RAID, but also scalability. You don't have to fully populate an 8-bay. A lot of people don't know that. An 8-bay solution doesn't necessarily mean you have to stick 8 hard drives in it on day dot. You can get away with just 1 if you wanted, and that means you can add drives gradually as you go, even increasing that storage in a number of different ways. So all of the solutions I'm going to talk about today are ones that tick a lot of boxes. Indeed, 8 bays of storage is something that most brands have taken very seriously from very early on in the history and the world of network attached storage. 8-bay solutions have always been treated with a lot of care, because there was a time when you had a private server and you'd go straight rack mount. How many of you have worked in retail? I've done Waitrose, I've done Sainsbury's, I've done Tesco, I've done the works when I was in my teens. So in that school, all that school of thought, all of you must have, at one point or another, known about that room that's full of the computers, the servers, the ones that are dealing with the transactions, the things that are dealing with the surveillance, just dealing with all of the files. That is your rack mount job. Now, there was a time where anyone looking seriously at having their own server had to go rack mount or go home. 8-bay solutions are where now you can get a robust, compact device about yay big with a huge amount of storage. Now, there have been literally thousands of 8-bay solutions in the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's a popular entry point for a lot of storage and data enclosure providers. So I've got to be strict with my rules. So in order to get this down to the best 3 recommended to buy at the start of 2022, let's go through the rules. First and foremost, you've got to have 100% of the applications and services that are being offered by the brand. If there is a gap there, if it doesn't support one of the features that they say it should, get out. We're only looking for 100% support. It's got to support also Mac, Windows, Linux, Ubuntu, Android, iOS, the works. Got to support all of them with apps for all of them, be they mobile apps or desktop client applications. Also, there's got to be upgradability. There's got to be the ability to add more storage. There's got to be the ability to increase network interface ports and connections. There's got to be the ability for this system to be rolled out and improved within its lifetime. On top of that, all of these solutions have to support multimedia. They've got to support surveillance to a high degree. They've got to support backups via multi-tiered backup solutions. They've got to have cloud gateways so they can integrate with cloud storage providers, be they simple Google Drives and Dropbox, all the way up to your AWS and your blob level storage, your Azures, I hate seagulls. On top of that, they've got to support Google Workspace, Office 365. They've got to basically be a complete and perfect server. Any gaps, and if it's not user-friendly, if there's any emissions, get out, we're not looking at it. So that narrows thousands of NASs down to a few hundred, and even then that's still quite a lot. So let's go through my recommended 3 to buy at the end of 2022. Last disclaimer though, if you are watching this in summer of 2022, there may be better solutions out there. So do double check using the links in the description to NAS Compares, where I will of course keep everyone updated on the new hardware solutions as they arrive, because there may be better ones out there by summer 2022 than the 3 that I'm going to talk about. This industry moves fast, but nonetheless, let's get on to my recommended 3 NASs. So if you are looking for an 8-bay and you don't have a sophisticated IT department, you don't have some real heavy-duty tech heads in your business, and you are looking for the most easy, user-friendly straightforward to set up and easiest to integrate 8-bay solution right now at the start of 2022. Easy peasy, it's the Synology DS1821 Plus. This system arrived about second half of 2020. This solution arrived with some great little features on board, inside and more. So inside, it's got an AMD Ryzen based processor, the V1500B, a very popular processor for SMB, small medium business buyers out there right now. Quad-core 2.2 GHz processor, also paired with 4 gig of DDR4 ECC error code correction or error correcting code memory that allows you to double check data as it passes through the memory and heal the files that are noticed to have any kind of issue. Helps you avoid things like bit rot and inconsistencies in your data as you process, and being kept on the record as well. On top of that, that memory can be upgraded up to 32 gigabytes as well, and it's lovely fast DDR4 memory at that. It's also got, alongside those 8 bays of storage that all support 20 terabytes of storage each, currently maximum storage available. So again, it's a great 160 terabyte potential there, or in RAID 5, 140 terabyte potential there, or in RAID 6, 120 terabytes of storage capability there. So again, enormous scalability, but that's not all. It can also be upgraded with the use of expansion devices bolted on to allow it to have up to 18 bays of storage there. So again, that is a tremendous amount of storage capability there. To put that into perspective, that is, what, 360 terabytes of unrated potential maximum storage. That's insane. Now, on top of that, it has 1 GBE on board, which is a bit meh, but it has a PCIe upgrade slot there, PCIe Gen 3 x 8, that allows you to add 1 and 2 port upgrade cards, allow you to install dual port and dual function cards that allow M2 SSD slots and 10 GBE, but you don't need to do that because it has those 2 M2 slots already in board. It also supports the entirety of the Synology DSM-7 application range of services and tools, and ultimately in terms of its hardware functionality, software support and usability and user friendliness, it's to date the best 8-bay that Synology have ever produced. And if you're looking at a Synology for your business and you're looking at 8 bays, look no further, this is the jam. Now, moving away from Synology, let's talk Qnap here, because this solution is again beefier. This is, a slightly higher learning curve, so you're gonna have to have possibly someone with a bit of technology on site, but it's still not brain surgery. It also arrives with the full range of supported services from Qnap. And by the way, when I say that, I am talking the support of ZFS as well. So zettabyte file system, which with huge improvements in performance, RAID building, resyncability, just general a great file system for business. If you are a business user that's been looking at storage even carefully, no doubt you've heard the letters ZFS thrown around and why you should get on board. This is the Qnap TVS872X. It is a variation of the 7.2 series from there, and that's arrived with Thunderbolt support in the past, 5 GBE support and more. And this system is a 10 GBE equipped NAS, but it's more than that. Arriving at about 1,500 quid, which again is scalable because there are a lot of kind of customized versions of this device out there. It arrives with an Intel Core processor inside, 8th gen, and that can be an i3 or an i5, so that's 4 or 6 core processor there, with high-end embedded graphics on board, as well as between 8 and 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory as well, so hugely scalable. This 8-bay solution also has M2 NVMe slots inside, but not just for caching this time. It can be used as a raw storage pool. It can be used for tiered storage, where your system will have super fast NVMe, a huge amount of hard drive capability storage there in a RAID, and data is moved onto the right storage based on how users are interacting, and the more frequently accessed data then gets moved onto the faster storage automatically. It's that smart to do it. On top of that, this system also has a couple of 1 GBE ports. It has USB 3.2 Gen 2, so you can attach super fast 10 gigabits per second USB drives as well for your localized backups locally in either direction. It's got HDMI out at 60 frames per second 4K, which is beautiful stuff. In terms of PCIe upgradability, you're looking at PCIe Gen 3 times 16 slot on there as well, which is crazy town. On top of that, you've also got another PCIe Gen 3 times 4 slot on there. You know, chuck on a 2-port 10 GBE card, a 25 GBE card, hell, a 40 gigabit Ethernet card. This thing will suck it up and do it. So again, a great solution, which again, when you look at the previous one that I talked about, the 1821, knocking around for about 1100 nicker, this one arriving again about $300 to $400 to $500 more, is infinitely more powerful. It's just, although it has an enormous array of software capabilities, a lot of which are not available on any other platform, it's just a little bit more techy than that of the Synology. Still very user-friendly, but not quite as user-friendly as that Synology. Let's round things up with choice number 3. Now, my third pick for the best 8-bay is just a pie in the sky, crazy town, just insanely powerful NAS. I talked about it towards the end of 2020, and of all the solutions that I've ever seen from Qnap, this is the one I think is just a great mix of modern convention and scalability. It's not their most powerful solution in terms of desktop. Indeed, the most powerful desktop solution they've ever released was launched about 4 days before I recorded this video, but that's for another video. This is the TVS H1288X. Now, this has some genuinely unique features about it. First and foremost, and I should mention, it's $2,999, so almost twice as expensive as anything else we've talked about today. But this system has a very unique CPU. It's a Xeon, but it's a Xeon W graphic-enabled chip. Very few Xeon processors feature embedded graphics, and this does not hold back. This 6-core processor arriving at 3.3 gigahertz standard that can be turboed up to an impressive 4.7 gigahertz for an embedded for a server CPU. That's insane. Arrives with between 16 gig of DDR4 UDIM ECC memory that can be upgraded up to 128 gig. That CPU also has a huge array of hardware capabilities available at its disposal. I've already mentioned it's an 8-bay, but it also has 4 SATA SSD ports. It also has 2 NVMe SSD ports. Those are 3 times 4 NVMe, so SSDs of over 3,000 megabytes per second can be installed inside those bays. And again, those bays can be used for caching, for raw storage, for those storage pools. They can be used for tiered storage, the lot. This system also arrives with support of ZFS as well, tick. But on top of that, in terms of other hardware capabilities, such as its 2 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, such as its support of a Thunderbolt upgrade card, its support of 2.5 GBE, 4 2.5 GBE ports there, bringing this system by default to arrive with a 30 gigabit per second external connectivity by default. That means, you know, shared bandwidth, of course, and that's combining with link aggregation and a supported switch, but still 3,000 megabytes per second external capability on this. Yum, yum. Now, there's also on the rear there an HDMI out, 4K 60 frames, obviously great stuff there. And with the system arriving with USB 3.2 Gen 2 through out for those external USBs there for backing up to and from and having an offsite and whatever you'll choose, it is by far the most capable, the most aggressive certainly, but still the most powerful 8-bay I've ever seen. And at the start of 2022, I would be really surprised if I talk about a more powerful 8-bay than this in 12 months. And when it comes to buying an 8-bay for your business, whether you're a photo video editor or someone dealing with an enormous amount of large raw data, this is going to be very, very desirable to you. Plus its scalability in storage, its scalability in memory, its scalability in network ports, remember, mean it is unrivaled in how high the glass ceiling is on a solution like this. But this has been my 3 recommended and best 8-bays to buy at the start of 2021. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. If you're watching this midway through 2022, I should say, and new solutions have arrived on the scene, maybe contact me via the free advice section or check some of the guides at NAS Compares linked in the description, where we will update where possible the better rate base that may have arrived in the meantime. But I'm going to be fairly confident that at least 2 of the solutions today ain't going nowhere. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, click like. If you want to learn more, click subscribe and the bell to be notified. And of course, the free advice section over on NAS Compares, linked in the description. Genuinely free. We do nothing with your email. Just link there to some donate buttons. Use them, ignore them. It's up to you. Ultimately, whatever suits you. We just are there to help you as much as we can. It might take us an extra day or 2 to answer you, because we are 2 humans with, lives, but we try to answer every email. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.